All right. Well, we are so happy to see you guys. There's a lot of super wonderful faces that we're seeing. And so we just want to say thank you so much. I'm Laurel Timblin, and this is Paul Timblin, my husband. And yeah, we're just super excited to have you guys. It's been a long time since we did this. So, and we're due, right? It's about time. Okay, so I am going to just get us going and I'm going to turn this over to Brian to start. So Brian, you'll have to unmute and let me share screen here.
All right, I guess that's my cue. So some of you guys who might be new to UIM Aviation, so I'll just give you a quick overview. We mainly fly in the Sierra Madre Mountains of Mexico, and so our main base is Tucson, and that's where the maintenance is done. And we have about 5 families that live there, and then also volunteers that come through the hangar from time to time. Then Chihuahua, which is 3 hours south of Tucson, a flight. We have 2 families there. We primarily serve Ethnos 360 as they do church planting in tribal areas. And then in Napuchis, we have our medical work there. We fly medevac for a Christian hospital that serves the Tarahumara. And then in Tepic is our south base. Napuchis is about an hour flight south of Chihuahua. And then if we go 3 hours south, farther flight is Tepic in central Mexico, and we have 3 families there. And that's predominantly more of indigenous work with indigenous people going out and doing church planning. And so my next deals, I'm going to turn it over to the McDaniels, Kevin McDaniel, and they're part of the Tepic Bay team. That was a tongue twister. And so I'll go ahead and let Kevin start to share.
Well, if I can figure out how to get it unmuted there. How y'all doing? It's good to see you. Oh, wait, you're all muted. You can't answer me. That's okay. I'll just keep talking then. We're fairly new to UIM Aviation. We've been volunteering with them for a while, so I'll just kind of give you a little bit of our background. This is my wife, Imelda, and we have 3 children, Mila, Alexandra, and Ariana. I'm originally from Western Montana, and my wife is actually from here, from Tepic, where we live and serve now. She was born and raised here, and about 25 years ago, I came down here to work at an orphanage here in Tepic, and that's where we met. And she was working there as well, and we fell in love, and well, that's the end of the story, pretty much. But we served in the United States in various ministries for a number of years, and then 8 years ago, answered the call to come down here full time to Tepic. That's what I said, 8 years, right? Yeah, 8 years.
Yeah, in July.
Yeah, well, it'll be 8 years in July. But we came down here shortly after we came down here. We met the farmer family, who's one of the other families at our Tepic base here that a lot of you are going to be familiar with. But we got to know them. We became friends with them, and then eventually God led us to start working with them a little bit here and there. And so we worked with them, I think, for 2 years, and then just 2 years ago, 2 years ago now. I'm sorry about my dates here, but we started working with them full time. We joined UIM in October of 2022, and so we've been really blessed to serve with them. We love working with UIM Aviation. I'm personally not a pilot, and so I'm a little bit of a stranger here. I end up wearing a lot of hats, like a lot of missionaries do, but I do, logistics for a lot of the different activities that we do, the ministries that we do, translating, communication, things like that, organizing and helping set up and run our medical clinics and things that we do like that. Then I guess the other thing that I was going to talk about a little bit is God recently, I guess, orchestrated things in such a way that I was able to study for and obtain my EMT license down here in Mexico. That was a little tough in my second language, but God came through and I was able to pass that. And that's come in really handy since I've gotten that here for our medical evacuations. As you can see on the slides there, on the right there, we do frequent medical evacuations for people that we know and people that are in the churches and communities that we serve. And then at our medical clinics too, I'm able to help out and lend a hand with that certification. So that's been a really big blessing. Um, our kids, our three daughters, every now and then they get to come along, as you can see in the pictures there, come along and help with certain things. That's been a really big blessing, just to see God using them and them learning how to be servants and how to join in with what we're doing, which is really cool. But otherwise, they spend their time doing homeschool and karate lessons. We just actually got home from karate lessons a few minutes ago, but and then that's about it. Just wanted to give you guys an introduction on us. You can be praying for us. Right now, the biggest prayer request for our family in particular is we're working on making more contacts and raising more support for us to be able to be down here and join in with UIM fully. So we appreciate your prayers in that. I guess I'll turn it over to whoever's next.
One of our goals in ministry has always been, ever since the beginning, was to see the good news brought to those who have never heard. That's always been our heart's desire, and it's been an overwhelming privilege of ours to be involved in that down here, as we've seen the gospel go out amongst the Huichol, the Kora, the Nawa, and we've seen these people come to know Christ, and we've seen how God has used the airplane to accomplish his purpose, and it's just been an overwhelming privilege of ours to be involved in that. In central Mexico, we fly for 3 different people groups. We fly for the Huichol, the Kora, and the Nawa. The Huichol work is an exciting work because it's actually the indigenous Indians themselves that are going out. They translated their own Bible through mother tongue translators. They've been going out, they've discipled their own believers, and they're making their own pastors, and they're sending out Bible teachers into these different indigenous areas. And so it's a privilege of ours to be able to fly these different Bible teachers and Bible translators out into the mountains as they minister to their own people. And we've been able to see the gospel increase wildly amongst the Huichol Indians. With the Kora Indians is a whole different kind of a work. We've been doing a lot of medical outreach with the Kora Indians. We've been working in a certain village, and people come from all over to attend the medical clinics in this village. And it's a great privilege of ours to be involved in the medical clinics.
With the Nawa Indian group, there's an Ethnos 360 team that has been out there for many years. They've established a small believing church and are still translating portions of the New Testament into the Nawa language. We support this ministry not only by flying to them, but also supply buying and encouraging them to visit.
It's hard to say what a typical day is for us. Often we plan to fly into the mountains early in the mornings before the winds pick up. So we'll get to the airport early in the morning. We'll get loaded up with our supplies, our Bible teachers, or whatever we're bringing out for the day or are planning to pick up. And then I can get medical evac calls. Often it's 8 to 16 hours travel in or out of these mountains. And so the airplane could be a very useful tool in order to get these people out in the event of a medical emergency, whether they fell off a horse, they fell down a mountain, they might have gotten really sick. We've had guys with heart attacks that we've had to get out. And so the airplane has been a huge tool being able to get those guys out of the mountains. Since being down here with the airplane, we've seen the gospel spread like wildfire. When we first got here, the Huichol Indians were only 2% believers. After being here for 10 years, it's spread to more than 10% believers. And we can contribute a lot of that to just the airplane being down here and be able to move these guys around. And as they've gone out into these different villages, they've been able to preach the gospel and people are starting to receive it. And it's been amazing to see what God is doing, and it's amazing to see how God is using the airplane to reach the lives of the people down here.
We're not down here by ourselves. We have all of you who are behind us, praying for us and supporting us, and we are so thankful that you have made this ministry possible.
We wouldn't be able to be down here doing what we do without you guys there, so we want to say thank you for all that you do for us and all that you do for the ministry down here in Central Mexico.
All righty. Well, good evening, guys. It's great to be here. It's great to see so many people here on the Zoom call. This is pretty cool technology that we can do this. But my name is Jason Farmer, and my wife Kim here with me. I'm a missionary pilot down here in Central Mexico as well as a mechanic. And Kim, for the mission, she does a lot of the publications. If you see emails or videos made, those are ones that Kim did. And a lot of the promotional materials, those are things that Kim works on. So she's got her hands very much involved in a lot of those things. And so she'll send up a follow-up MailChimp to this for the Zoom call, and she'll put a link to that video. I don't know if it was working for you guys, but the music wasn't coming through for us. But if you want to see that too, and I don't know if it was glitching there for you guys or not, but we had a little bit, could be our internet too. Who knows? We're way down here south in Mexico. But we just wrapped up another medical clinic up in the villages here in the mountains with the Cora people. It was a great clinic. I believe this is the fourth time that we've done a clinic like this. You know, in years past, we used to always support other people's clinics. But something that Kevin and I were praying for years ago was, you know, God, we have this great tool. We want to use it to serve you. How would you help us, or how would you use this tool that we have here to serve you better? And the Lord just kind of like thrust this village into our laps. And, you know, they were asking for doctors and dentists to come. And they said, could you guys bring us some? And so we started brainstorming down here, and so we had this idea, hey, let's try doing one of our own medical clinics, and let's try organizing one of our own. And so this is the fourth one that we've done. You know, and everyone's been very unique and everyone's been very different. On this team, we had two doctors. We had a church from California, Shadow Mountain Community Church from California, came down to help Don here on the Zoom call. She was there. We had a doctor from Shadow Mountain come down. We had a fellow missionary doctor that's been a part of our ministry for years. He works in San Carlos, Mexico. Dr. Kenny Van Kirk, he came down. We had several helpers come down. One thing that we didn't have on this trip, which was unique, that we really wanted to have, was a dentist. We didn't have a dentist. Everything kind of fell through for us. And so we kind of pivoted and turned, and we brought a couple of youth from the local church down as well. And we ran a sports clinic, and I'll talk about that a little bit here in a second. But you know, it's lots of work to do these clinics. We are grateful for the tools and the assets that God gives us. It took us, I believe, 5 plane loads to get everybody and all the stuff out there. I think there was about 17 of us out there. And so that's a lot of food. That's a lot of medicine to bring out, a lot of supplies and things. So we're just grateful for the plan that God's provided for us to be able to do these things. And one of the interesting things was Kevin got to bring his daughter Mila out along on this trip. I got to bring my son Noah out. Here you can see Kevin and Mila working together. One of the more critical patients that we saw, there was this gal that was very dehydrated. They were able to start an IV and give her an IV. Mila's only 15 years old, and she has a heart for ministry, and she's got a heart for nursing. And so something that was really neat to see on our trip was how the different doctors and nurses really rallied around Mila, and they just kind of empowered her and gave her every opportunity they could. Every time we were turning around, Don here on the call, you know, she especially was just helping Mila out, and it was just really cool to see them help grow and develop Mila and her confidence and her abilities, you know, and as she grows in the future, they were giving her lots of advice. So it was great to have our kids involved and be involved. We saw about 60 patients all together when we were down there, and just all kinds of different things that we were seeing. And one of the things that we want to do, since we were doing this sports clinic, was we really wanted to reach the youth while we were down there. And so this is the first time we'd done that. And so we were just kind of stumbling through some of it. And we thought, well, how do we reach these kids? And let's go back to the last slide there, if you would, Laurel. We were like, how do we reach these kids? And David, one of the young men that we brought up from the Baptist church, David's father is actually a UIM Mexico missionary, and he's actually the director of our UIM International Mexico down here. His father is, and so we found this picture book of all these Bible pictures that the pastor up here in the village had. He's like, here, David, why don't you use this to teach the kids? And he goes, well, who do I start with? And he goes, well, there's 4 kids over there sitting on the ground. Why don't you start with those? And so as soon as he started telling stories, Bible stories, all these other kids came, and we probably had 20, 30, 40 kids come and pile around. They all wanted to hear the Bible stories. A lot of them stopped the games that they were playing. There was a few that just kept playing the games they're on, but they were all eager to hear, and it was just a great time working with the kids. The church up there brought lots of little things to give to the kids. One of the things that they have is these little toy cars. They have this ministry group called Toy Soldiers, And it's just a bunch of retired men in their church that build these little toy cars, and they give them to missionaries to give out in the village. And so we were able to hand these cars out to the people, do a little derby and stuff with them, and just interact as much as we could. And, just getting to know the village and the people there. Um, Being able to play with them. I was able to, I was taking a lot of photos and videos, but it was fun to be able to put the camera down and be able to go play with the kids as well. Something that was really interesting, like when we were playing baseball, they haven't played a lot of baseball before, and they didn't have the best stance, they didn't have the best form or anything, but they probably connected with 90% of the balls that we threw at them. Like, they were very good hand-eye coordination, and it was fun. It was fun just getting to know the different kids. Since I've been up there quite a bit, I already know quite a few of them, but it was fun to get to know even more of the kids. There's our son Noah. He was supervising in the kitchen. If there was food around, that's where you'll find the teenage boy. But it's just living life with these guys was neat, and seeing how they cook their tortillas on these open fires. And the church brought out these packets called one meals. And so that's rice and lentils, and then they have a packet of vitamins that they put in there. And one little pack will feed a family of 6. It will feed a meal for a family of 6, and it was something they were trying out. And so we were making these up, and these are designed to go into different indigenous communities. And then each community, in Mexico, they're going to add some chilies to it. Yeah, they can add a little bit of meat to it if they want. If it goes to different other places, they can add whatever spices are local. And so we bring this up and we make these one meals, and then we handed that food out to the folks that were coming to the medical clinics. And so it was great just to be able to meet, some of their physical needs, whether it was seeing the doctors, meet some of their hunger needs as well. Some people hiked for hours to come to these clinics. And then we were meeting some of their spiritual needs. Every night we would invite everybody to come, and we'd have a big church service. One of the guys on the team was able to preach in Spanish. Another guy had Dr. Kenny Van Kirk translate for him. And it was just great to be able to meet some of their spiritual needs as well. And really what we wanted to do there was just empower this church. We wanted to partner with the little local church as they're a light to the community. And this church is actually reaching out to 5 other different communities around them, and they're wanting to be a part of it. And here you can see our son Noah, and then Steve, one of the pastors from Shadow Mountain there. They were working on some of the electrical projects on the church, trying to get it going there. So thankfully nobody got electrocuted on the trip there. But it was great, working with our kids, getting our kids involved, working with the team. The Lord always sends us great people to come down there, and it's great to have great equipment. And it's not just us that are there in the village. We got our mechanics up there in the States. They provide us great airplanes. We truly appreciate them. 29 Charlie here, we just finished 100 hours of faithful service in this airplane, and it's ready to go back up next week to the States. And Paul's going to dig into it. Paul and Tony up there and Silas, they're going to dig into this airplane, and they're gonna go through it and make sure it's ready for another 100 hours of service. And so we really appreciate our team, and we appreciate all you guys that are praying for us and being a part of what we do down there. So we just thank you for our team, and we thank you guys for being a part. And I know a lot of people prayed for these medical clinics, and a lot of people have actually supported these medical clinics. And please, if you know any dentist, we would love to do, since we weren't able to do dentists this time, we're hoping this next one, maybe we could just really focus on some dentistry needs and just get a good team of dentists out there and really go to town on some of that. So if you guys know some dentists, please send them our way. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn it over to Paul. Speaking of maintenance and stuff, Paul's our director of maintenance. I'm going to turn it over to Paul, and he's got some exciting updates on 2 different aircraft here for us.
So I'm Paul. I'm one of the 3 mechanics that's up here in Tucson. Tony and Silas help me up here, and we try to keep these aircraft going that they're flying out to the mountains and different places. And none of us are definitely not dentists, so you don't want us coming down there to help. But we do help on the other side of things. We try to keep the aircraft going. So I'm going to update you on 2 of the aircraft. 51 Tango is an aircraft we bought from MAF back in Indonesia. It was served in Indonesia until 2016. We bought it from MAF in 2020, and we loaded it in a Penske truck and brought it back to Tucson. This is what it looked like when we unloaded it. We thought this would be cool just to lay out all the parts to show that you can fit all this in a Penske truck. And we started putting it together in between all the other work we were doing. It had an Indonesian registry, so we had to get it registered in the United States. So to do that, we had to put it together, show the FAA that it was a complete 206, and we got our FAA airworthiness certificate in June of last year. So then we had to put an engine on it, a new prop, we upgraded the panel, and then we got excited about flying it, and we flew it first in January. Dave Wolf and I flew it in its first flight that it's flown since 2016. So we were really excited about that. And then we started fundraising for all the rest of the things that we needed to make it equal with the rest of the airplanes that we have. And praise the Lord, God has really provided. He has faster than what we had actually anticipated. He's supplied all the rest of the funds for the airplane. We are currently installing new windows in it this week, and we're hoping to fly it to the paint shop Friday of next week or the following Monday so that it can be in the paint shop. And when it comes back, we'll finish it up and hopefully have it in service. Our goal is to have it in service by the middle of the summer, Lord willing, if that plays out that way. The other airplane we wanted to update you on is 901. And if you remember back in January of last year, 901 had a hard landing accident in Topeka. And this is an amazing story. And I wish I had more time to share about it, but we hooked up our trailer and Tony's truck, and we gathered a team from Tucson, and we drove the 2-day drive down to Topeka and got down there. And I just want to share 2 stories about this trip. There's so many things that God orchestrated throughout this trip that would be fun to share. And we could almost do a whole Zoom call just on this trip. But 2 things I want to highlight. The accident happened in January, and we had to wait until April until we got the paperwork in order from the Mexican government to be able to go get the airplane. So actually a year ago this week, we were in Topeka and we got down there and got to the airport the next day after we arrived in Topeka, and we started taking the airplane apart after assessing everything. And I don't know, about an hour or so into us taking it apart, the Comandante showed up and said, "Oh, wait a minute. We don't have everything. I don't have all the paperwork that I need for you to be able to take the airplane apart and take it back to the States." And so we stopped the work and we got together and called our wives, and they started hitting social media, and we had a prayer time down there, gathered around the airplane, and really just started praying the Lord would open doors, because here we are down there with all of our tools and trailer and truck and ready to take this thing apart and get it back to the States. And you guys prayed, and we prayed, and the Lord answered. And a couple hours later, the Comandante had his paperwork. Now, got to remember, this is Easter week in Mexico, where it's a big cultural week, and guys are out of the office for all kinds of time during that week. And, it just so happens that guy in Mexico City that needed to get the paperwork to the Comandante in Topeka was still in his office and got the paperwork in. So it was a real God thing that he orchestrated that. The other story I wanted to share was, traveling through Mexico, you hit lots of checkpoints. And as we traveled down with our empty trailer, we saw and passed lots of checkpoints and thought, oh boy, this is going to be a fun trip going home. So we started really praying about the Lord opening those doors as well. And I just want to share about one particular checkpoint. It was interesting to see. We passed more checkpoints that were set up on the northbound lanes as we were going southbound. And in particular, there's one big military checkpoint that everybody seems to always get stopped at. And you end up having to unload your car, and they ask you lots of questions. Well, we got ready to get into that checkpoint and stopped, and Tony handed them all the passports from the 5 American white guys that are sitting in the truck. And he looked at the passports, looked at us, and waved us right through. It's like he never even saw the trailer that was back there. It was totally a God thing. And I can think of some Bible stories where God blinded some eyes of some officials, but it's really neat to see how God worked through that. So now the airplane was in Tucson, and we called Missionary Maintenance Services. They're the ones that repaired 52Q. Remember that accident from way back in 2014. And the damage that's on 901 is it's not that we can't do it, we just don't have the time or the personnel to be able to handle it. And so we called MMS, Missionary Maintenance Services up in Ohio, and they've agreed to take it. But we had to wait a year before they could actually fit it in. And last month, some supporter friends of Tony and Sue Ann's, Phil and Tony Hansen, they volunteered with the help of their church to pick up our trailer and fuselage for 901. Then we loaded it all up and they drove it up there last month. And this month, April, they're supposed to start the work on 901 to hopefully get it back in the field. So you can be praying that they get it done in good time while we're getting 51 Tango ready. And then once 901 is done, the goal is to get it back in ministry. As you can see, we serve rough airstrips and there's things that happen to the airplanes all the time. So we want to keep these ministries going, and our job as the mechanics in the shop is to keep the airplanes performing top notch so that actually happens. I'm going to pass it back to Brian now for some other information he's going to share with you guys.
All right. Yeah, I've been directing UIM Aviation for over 20 years. And during that time, it's always challenging in the area of staffing and volunteers and those type of things. But God has brought to us a great team. And the administrative assistant, Bethany, she's in Virginia, and she does a lot of the billing and the just the coordinating as far as the flights go and things like that. But what we also need is somebody in Tucson that could come and work part-time. They just need to be able to coordinate different things. Yeah, answer the phone's part of it. But, as we develop more of these medical dental teams, they need to be able to, help coordinating that, help coordinating donor development, help with a lot of these things that you can imagine. Most of us just are pilot mechanics. And so we need those with gifting in these areas to come alongside and work with us. We also need pilots and mechanics. And it seems like, yeah, we have, 13, 14 families at any one time. But a pilot, it takes so many years to become part of us and part of our team. By the time you go to language school, learn to fly, go through training with us, gain your support, join UIM, it's just several years in the process. So we're always looking ahead for pilots. And then licensed mechanics, that's another thing that we need. We're always seem to be short in the shop, always having many projects, and not just because they get damage, but where we fly is very difficult and it's very hard on the airplane. So we're always busy in the shop. And so please share these needs with those in your sphere of influences. You guys go to churches, you guys know people that are looking to serve and be a part of our ministry. We also need some of these areas of supported. So monthly donors in the area of these office managers, administrators, those type of things. Those are difficult jobs or responsibilities to raise funds for. And so we try to raise monthly donors to help with that. So, yeah, we're excited that you're a part of this call. And we want you to go to our Facebook and check us out there. If you want regular updates, go to our website. Um, there's just opportunities to be involved with us, and in like Jason was saying, if you know dentists, doctors, anybody like that would help with those type of things. So yeah, we're going to go on to a question and answer time now. And we want to also let you know that this recording will go out to anybody that's on our mailing list and being a part of this call and stuff. If you want to receive it, it'll go out in a few days. And so once again, do you guys have any questions? I know it's kind of a fire hose of information to you. But we appreciate all of you that have partnered with us over the years and just showing an interest being on this call, sharing our ministry with others, sharing on the posts that we put on Facebook, Instagram, those type of, I guess it's X now. So appreciate that. So does anybody have any questions?
All right, Paul, unmute.
Okay. Hey, two questions. Number one, will this Zoom meeting be available to share with our church? And number two, all of the ministries that you have going on, do y'all ever, any of y'all at your various locations, have any ministry teams come in and do special mission weeks, short term? You know, a teenager sometimes it's just a week, you know, a church for a week. So there's my two questions.
All right,
Like-
I'll take the recording part.
Okay.
Yes, it is recorded and we will be sending it out. If you are on this call, guess what? You are now on our mailing list. Yay! And so, yes, you will get it. Probably take a day or two until that comes through. Somebody else can take the rest of his question.
I will also post a link on our website and Facebook as well.
All right.
We're always looking for ways that we can use teams. It depends, there's a few criteria we want to have. We want it to benefit the people that we're going to and some of those things. And we're always looking for different ways we can get different people involved into ministry out in the mountains and to be a part of that. So yeah, I mean, I guess kind of reach out with us, kind of what you're thinking and see how we can partner together that way.
Also, does your house need repaired? Yes, always. So there's always things like that in regards to our hangars and just yeah, just even like say administrative help. Just if you're at coordinating these ministry teams, those type of things, those are a huge challenge, and we're always working on the planes and flying them, and so having help with that would be great.
Yeah, and something we're working on for the future. Who knows when it'll happen? It's kind of in God's hands. Is we would love to get a little chunk of property down here and build a hangar in the Tepic base. That's to come in the future. There's a few details we got to work out. Yeah, but if that happens, I mean, we would love to see some work teams come down. I think it'd take a handful of different teams to see that come. So
One thing on our website, and I know we'll have to update a little bit here, but there is a place where you can start a dialogue, put what your team is looking for to come, whether it's in Mexico or Tucson, and that's probably the best spot to start at.
Could I make a comment as well? I'm David Wolf, and I'm looking forward to continuing to have mission exposure trips to various locations where we minister. And so we just took a trip a couple weeks ago with some Laterno students and exposed them to mission work in Chihuahua area. And we're always open to sponsoring those mission exposure trips for churches or youth groups or interested individuals.
Okay, is there any other questions? If you have one, we can't see everybody on one screen, so if you have one, just unmute and start talking and we'll see you then.
Hey, I was wondering, what about a church? Jason and Kim had said something before about, not a lot of things going on at their church. Tell us a little bit more about that, Jason and Kim.
be a little more specific there for me, Ed. What do you mean?
Yeah, is there the things for the kids? Is there things for youth? Is that a church where you're actively involved, or?
You mean for us personally?
Yeah,
Or
yes.
for the people that we serve?
For you personally?
Yeah, there's a church here that we're involved in. Each one of us pilots down here kind of has a different church that we go to, which is great because we partner with lots of different churches and helping them out. And so, yeah, some of those, it's all in Spanish, and so for our kids, it's always a little bit more difficult. The ones that they haven't quite learned Spanish yet, but it's a good exposure for them as well. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I had a question. A while back, you sent out information about the fact that you were trying to get the hangar lights all LED. Whatever happened on that? I haven't heard lately.
how about we get Paul to answer it?
Well, Tony could answer that
Oh,
too.
yeah,
Tony.
let's.
I need to get an answer to that.
Tony.
Even Tom Merrick.
Yeah, hi, I'm Tony Harmon, one of the mechanics. And first, I want to shout out to Silas, the other mechanic. He's our newest, latest, and greatest. With all the upgrades and stuff. He just got his IA license, inspection authorization, or IA. I want to say AI, but he's not AI. He's an IA. Anyhow, congratulations to him. It's one of the hardest tests that you can take, I believe, as within the realm of the FAA and some of the far as pilots and mechanics are concerned. So good job on that. As far as the lights go, Tom Merrick, you could wave your hand. There you go. If you can find Tom Merrick, he and Silas actually put up the last few lights. Tom Merrick is from an E-Free church down in Green Valley, south of Tucson here. They were able to purchase the lights that we needed. And with the last couple of years, we were actually donated an electric scissor lift from a gentleman on the airport. And so we were able to use that and go up to the ceiling of our tall hangar. And it was a very simple retrofit, taking down the old light fixtures, which were pretty large, a couple or a foot and a half in diameter. They took a lot of electricity, but we're able to take those down, put a simple outlet in, and then be able to plug in a UFO of light. It's a flat LED light that gives off like 28,000 lumens per light. And they light the hangar very nicely. The E-Free church that was just there, we had a luncheon with them, and we were able to demonstrate the lights there. So we might put up a couple in the next few years in our other hangar, but it's going to be a pretty simple activity to be able to do that. So the main part of that is done. So we want to thank people that were a part of that, both in giving and helping to put them up. It didn't take a lot of expert knowledge because several of us were able to come up with a good way to put them up, and then we're able to do them ourselves pretty easily. So thank you for being available, and I will keep you in mind for more electrical stuff in the future. Because once in a while we do have that need, but at the moment, as far as our hangars go on the electrical side and the light side, now we're doing pretty good. There is a possible church group out of South Dakota that may come down and insulate and put tin up on a smaller hangar that we have to insulate it to help with its heating and cooling there at the Tucson base. So we'll keep you appraised of that as we move forward there. So thank you.
Okay, somebody else have a question?
Yeah, seems to me, if I'm remembering correctly, the last time that we had one of these update videos, there were a lot of projects needing done and funding at a lot of the hangars. I think seems to me like a waiting area at one of the hangars, and I think a little tug to pull a plane or something. Did all those get completed?
So who do we have on from Chihuahua?
Okay. I don't know. Aaron, but he's fairly new, so I don't know. But yes, Lori, a lot of that stuff was taken care of. The tugs, various. I mean, there's always continuation of projects at the hangars. So like our carpet in the Tucson hangar, the carpet's been up there for, I don't know, 10 so more years, or it's pretty wore out. So at some point, somebody come up and put together a snap flooring. We've been doing a lot of work on the Chihuahua hangar, and it needs a lot of TLC as well. So they all need something. So yeah, if there's a church team, if there's something, by all means, give us a holler, because I think we can put you to work. But yeah, I don't know if that's more specifics, or you need more specifics than that, but we
No,
can.
that's fine. I just remember all those projects and just, I haven't heard the the funding was still needed for those. So I'm just assuming they all got done.
We had a couple individuals come from Omaha and redid the bathrooms at the hangar here. Oh, it's been about a year ago or so. So there's just just a continuation of projects and things and people being involved in it. And the Lord is just really blessed in the area of fundraising and stuff. So it's been huge.
It's Fred Ganley here. What's the process of financing the fuel costs? That's still a big problem.
We're always looking for, like, say, monthly donors, and I think that's the thing I would like to see us develop more is because that comes down most of our flying, I mean, as a nonprofit or as a non-commercial Part 91, we cannot charge for our flights. So we have to ask for donations. And so most of the flying that we're doing more and more is for in the indigenous pastors, indigenous work. And so very little of it is funded by even bus fare if we're lucky or something like that. But the more we can do, the more money we can raise in that area as far as flights and things, the more we can do in regards to flying Mexican nationals and native pastors. So pretty much, I don't know, there was statistics, I should look at them a little bit more, but was it like 90% of our flying is probably for non donation even from the individuals. And so that's coming from partners like you guys here and stuff, helping to fund those.
Okay, just an extra sidebar on that. What's the average cost per hour now to fly? Has it gone up?
Yeah, we're still, I mean, yeah, it fluctuates, but it's pretty much around $300 an hour.
Still? Okay.
Yeah. So it's, gas flight prices definitely fluctuate, cost of parts. It's getting harder and harder to find parts for these airplanes. So we fly, these airplanes that you're seeing, these pictures are 1970s. And so just just to get parts now, they're making it more and more difficult, whether it's landing gear, it's just things that we abuse and stuff. And then, you have supplemental type certificates, but they may not have been, those are supplemental things that we can put on that have been approved by the FAA that we can put on the airplane, but they may have not been built for this type of a design airplane. And so then we have to go for special
Yeah.
so it's just a continual challenge as they try to get some of the aging aircraft out of there. They don't want us to continue, but there's hard to replace a 1970s airplane. And it looks like, when we're done or when the guys in the shop are done with it, it looks like it just rolled out the 2024 assembly line. But
Yeah.
it's definitely a challenge. So
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Do we have another one real quick? It is now 6:15, so that's for some of y'all getting pretty late. I realize that. Thanks for being on. So if there is somebody who has another question, speak now, forever hold your peace. No, you can always message it to us.
There's a wedding? A wedding here.
shotgun wedding. So
No.
Very good.
Okay, I guess not. Well, thank you so much for being on, and so nice to see you guys' faces, everybody.
Same here. Yeah.
All right, I think that's it from us here. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who came on, and thanks to the guys who shared, and you guys have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Keep up the good.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Keep up the good work.